Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so that potential buyers can learn more about the business and the seller to help them make an informed buying decision. If you would like to learn more about this business, including details like what type of business it is, how much revenue and profit it makes, and all of the assets included with the business, simply visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for this business's listing number, which you can find in the video thumbnail and in the description. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. So without further ado, let's get into this interview. First up, let's learn a little bit about you. Can you tell us about your background in building and running online businesses?
So in terms of building online businesses, this is actually my second one, as my first one was in the arbitrage space, and that was fine, but each one has its pros and cons that made me want to switch over to this and work on this.
Why are you selling the business now instead of keeping it and growing it further?
The reason I'm selling the business is because at this point, there are ways to make it grow, but it's become much more passive to me, and I've discovered another model that I'm much more interested in, that I've been spending all my time on, and I want to use the capital to grow in that aspect instead.
Can you describe the amount and the type of work that you do on this business to maintain it?
In terms of work, currently, all I do is spend about an hour a week updating ads, and that's all that's really required to maintain it.
So if you were to keep this business, what are some of the ways you would try to grow it?
If I was to keep the business, there's definitely a couple ways that I would try to grow it. Number one would be, of course, releasing more books in the same niches, especially niches that may have more competition. What I would do is use either micro-influencers. So one path I could try to use is use micro-influencers to increase traffic to Audible listings that are in more popular niches, like specifically lay out later in our call or something. But what I would do is I would use these micro-influencers to push sales to get those books ranking. And once they're ranked, Audible will push them automatically for ourselves. And once they're in a highly competitive niche and they're ranking in a competitive niche, that's where the money would flow in. Another way is, of course, to release new books in these niches and get them ranking alongside the way. And a third way, which is something that's very, very possible, is creating social media accounts that drive traffic to these pages. I don't know if you've seen, like, it's a trend these days where people will create these faceless, like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube automation, like faceless channels. And essentially you're providing free value, whatever that value is. And using that value, you have call to actions that essentially just push traffic towards these Audible Amazon rankings. And once the traffic goes there a couple of times, and the magic of it is that once you push traffic there and the books get ranking, Amazon will start pushing your book on its own, and it'll just make sure that it always stays in the first pages.
Right. And what would you say are the biggest risks with this business that buyers should be aware of?
The biggest risk that I think that this business has is, of course, the platform. And it's scary because Amazon, it's pretty much all up to Amazon whether or not whatever happens to your account. So what I would focus on is quality over quantity for sure, which means making sure that none of the work you do is copyright, plagiarism, anything like that, like no trademark infringement. So making sure that every single book is perfectly safe. And if you do that, which of course I've heavily focused on in my own business growing this, is that there is no shot that Amazon can come and take away this business from me. And if they do, I can go to an Amazon, like there's these lawyers for Amazon that'll help in that case because I have done nothing wrong. But I would say that's the biggest risk, because in terms of books or anything like that, ranking them is the hardest part. But once they're ranked, especially on sites like Audible where you can't use ads, the books are so sticky.
How much support are you willing to offer the buyer who acquires this business?
In terms of buyers, I am passionate about this brand because it is something that I've built up. So I would really want to see this brand doing well, as well as any other buyers that come in doing well. I'd be willing to offer a lot of support in terms of I have one book that is unreleased that I'm willing to walk through them the whole process of. And then I have another on both the paperback as well as the audiobook. I have different versions that I'm willing to walk them through the whole process, as well as sort of expand on my ideas of how to grow the business exactly and show them examples, show them like a step-by-step game plan of what I would do if that's what they want. And yeah, just unlimited calls, unlimited texts for a certain amount of time. I'd be more than willing to help.
Are you open to negotiating something like an earn-out agreement?
Unfortunately, I'm not open to something like an earn-out payment structure just because I would like to use the capital to invest in the other venture that I'm more focused on right now. And that's the whole point of selling the business in the first place.
Okay, final question. If you had to put yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why is your business a business worth buying?
So if I was a buyer, I think this business is worth buying simply because of the potential it still has, as well as how much it's already been established. And also in terms of safety, like the brand is focused heavily on quality over quantity, which I think is something that'll always last much longer than the other way around. And if I was a buyer, this is something that I could grow while not spending as much time. So if I had like, let's say a W-2 job, a full 9-to-5 job, or other hustles that took more priority, this is something I could grow on the side at the same time.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this business is still for sale, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for this business listing number, which you can find in the video thumbnail and description. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll find everything you need to know about this business. So, thanks for joining us. See you next time.